Hello and welcome to ET Future of Money. I'm Aloni Bhatt. On the Innovators Launchpad here at ET Future of Money, our third startup is MAKSPay Fintech Solutions Private Limited with its product PehchanPe Cards, which seeks to empower women-led small and micro businesses. I'm Aloni Bhatt and I'm very happy to have with me the CEO and founder of MAKSPay, Shiva Prasad. He has worked at Goldman Sachs and Dell in investment banking and technology. He has been a serial entrepreneur and a consultant to companies in frontier technologies like blockchain, ML, risk management, and others. Shiva, very good to have you here with us at ET Future of Money Innovators Launchpad in partnership with Reserve Bank Innovation Hub.
Thank you, Malini, for the invite. I'm glad to be part of this. Really excited.
And we're excited to have you. Shiva, can you tell us a little bit about what led to the PehchanPe cards and, what are the problems that it wants to solve?
Yeah, I think, we are at a cusp of this point in India, Malini, where we want to empower women, from a livelihood standpoint and really scale the bar, right? So right now, we have provisioned over more than 400 million Jan Dhan accounts, right? Mm-hmm. A portion of that is, majority, used by women. But the flexibility of using that account and really ensuring that you use that account for not only direct benefit transfers, but also use that account to make payments, use that account to actually save small sums of money in that account. I think that is where we felt like there's a friction around it. And what we do is, as a PehchanPe card, we lay a digital virtual account on top of it. So the account stays with the banks like SBI, Bank of Baroda, but then we layer a card on top of it, which is a very simple PehchanPe card with a virtual account mapped to it. And that makes it a frictionless opportunity for women to just show the card and receive payments, for their business. And at the same time, use the same card to make payments from the QR code as well. So it's a bidirectional card. You can receive money and then you can also make payment, but the money stays in your account. You're in control of the account, right? So that's what PehchanPe does.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about how a lot of Jan Dhan accounts are inactive, right? Like people are simply not using them.
Right. So this virtual account actually maps it to your Jan Dhan account, right? Mm-hmm. So you have on the onboarding process itself, we map their Jan Dhan account to the virtual account, which makes it seamless for them to move money in and out. The biggest challenge we saw that was a lot of women have smartphones, but they don't use the banking applications on the smartphones because they don't have control on the account. They're not worried about money being moved out or in. But with PehchanPe, what happens is your face is the identity for moving money in and out. So anytime there's a payment which has to go out, you show your face, and that's how you're in control of your account. So all the money comes in, you're in control. It's not your husband, your brother who has access to your UPI pins or OTPs, but it is your Pehchan based on which you can make payments. And that's where we thank RBI and NPCI, and we're doing a lot of pilot in having that top-notch tech accessible to women, more from an empowerment, and digital footprint kind of go up. They'll start doing a lot of payments, and there's a lending rails which is built into it, right? So as much business I grow, I can borrow money over the counter on the phone itself, and that's almost like near real time. So we're going to offshoot all these offline money lenders and give them opportunity to borrow. Small ticket sizes, the sachet loans about 10,000 to 100,000. And the repayment is also very digital, right? They repay 90 rupees and that gets debited from their PehchanPe account. They don't even need to go to the bank. So we're keeping the ecosystem the same with the banks, but layering a feature on top of it just to make it very, frictionless. So to speak.
You said that you've been able to test it out. What's been the feedback for you?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I think we did a small pilot to see how we can help self-help group women just to get access to credit, from a credit standpoint, but at the same time use the same PehchanPe card to receive payments from their customers, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not only about giving digital footprint, but also where these self-help group women make artifacts, right? They're small carpentry or paperwork and all. We also provide market linkage to them. So that means their products can be generally discovered by customers like you and me, and then that brings business back to them, right? So the feedback has been fantastic, and they really like the frictionless payments, so to speak. But one thing which came out really strongly is the money stays in their account, and they are protected, and that trust comes in together, right? So that's something which we're really proud of.
Speaking of women-led micro businesses, especially in developing and emerging economies, they're confined, as you said, to, really small businesses, right? And they're very often forced to operate informally because they're financially excluded from the digital economy and they also face deep biases in accessing markets and finance. Now, so what happens with this is that there is a data gap when it comes to these women.
Correct.
So how does your product overcome those challenges, when it comes to market penetration?
Right. I think this is really critical for a country like India, right? Because the masses are there, but the awareness and education about products like these exist, that has to be rolled out. And that is where partnerships come into play. So we've partnered with a lot of large NGOs who work at a systemic level on the ground with a lot of women entrepreneurs, and they are our go-to-market, kind of a partners. So they reach out, they say that there's a platform like PehchanPe, we will onboard you on that, and that brings that whole momentum kind of kicks in. So I think partnership and leveraging two sides of the story. We are a for-profit organization, but our partners are not for profit, right? But what we give them back is a social return of investment. So we actually monitor a woman who's joined our platform today, if she's making 10,000 rupees. And because of our intervention, if she goes up to 25,000 rupees in, let's say, 3-4 months, that social return of investment is captured by the NGOs, right? And that's where their impact from a livelihood standpoint comes together. And for us, it's more flexibility on the platform.
Is that how you get, the end user to trust you via the intermediary?
Because that trust and that relationship has been there for a while. Yes.
Okay. You were a part of the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub's Swanari Tech Sprint, that identified 7 problem statements.
Yeah.
And essentially the idea was to create smart and sustainable solutions for low, middle income women, who are also underserved, and also for women-led enterprises.
Correct.
What's been your experience?
I think it's been fantastic. And we really thank RBI for that, because I think as a country which is emerging, here is where a regulator has come together and said, we will enable fintechs to innovate, at the same time regulate in a kind of a frictionless model. I think India is one of those unique countries, and our experience in terms of participating, talking to mentors, and really getting through the problem statement and solving it together for scale, that has been really, really fruitful. And we really thank RBI for that, and taking it forward with the collaborators they have and the sponsors like Bank of Baroda, Axis Bank, and other participants, right? We are now able to extend our solution to those rails, within banking. So we're talking to the banks and saying, as a fintech, we'll reduce your cost of acquisition, and then you can be the liquidity provider for funding these women. So there is a really good hand-in-glove collaboration which is happening between the regulators, Innovation Hub, the banks, and fintechs like that, like us.
What are the pain points for you? From your vantage, what do you really need to succeed long term?
Yeah. So I think a lot of startups in India are at that point where they're getting a lot of access to capital, at least at an angel level. They're building those solutions, and they're trying to figure out not only from a tier 1, but a tier 2, tier 3 standpoint. So we're getting a lot of solutions coming out. But the key, I think, Miloni, is implementing these solutions into large corporates or banks, where you actually take them out there, put it out there, see the feedback loop gets completed, and then have a rollout plan, right? So putting it from an embedded finance, if it is a large corporate, or plugging in your solutions from a fintech into large financial institutions or banks. I think that has to come up right now in India, where we should start trusting that a startup would have done enough due diligence and they're not that risky, but then give them an opportunity to roll it out in a pilot, or do some level of production testing. But once that trigger point comes in India, you'll see so much of innovation happening that it'll become mainstream very, very quickly, what I believe.
All right. Okay. Shiva, share with us, what's your vision like for the PehchanPe Cards?
See, if you look at the PhonePe and the Aziz model, India is looking at 10 trillion in payments, ecosystem alone compared to the overall system, right? So I think a lot of Indians have access to mobile phones, and with 5G coming in, I think it's only going to expand. And we're looking at the industry railroads which are being built. Like the government is doing so much, they're building ONDC as a network, right? So we would like to be that player on an ONDC rail, tackling the payments challenges, right? And supporting UPI parallelly and grow and scale with UPI, but have our own identity. So we're calling it one identity, one app. So if you have in PehchanPe, that means your money is protected, there's trust, and then you can make payments bidirectionally, frictionless. So that's my vision for PehchanPe.
Shiva Prasad, thank you so very much for your participation, and we wish you all the best with your product.
Thank you so much. Thank you.